Thank you. It was beautiful. There's only one life, right? There's only one life. Thank you. So, thank you, Big Love Band. Thank you, everyone. It really is a wonderful reminder. You know, we call November Appreciation Month and Gratitude Month, but, you know, I love this reading, and I want to highlight a sentence in it. It says, a controlled life sustained by gratitude. A controlled life. So I love that because the experience of our oneness, our experience of our magnificence, our experience of our essence, our true self, is a function of discipline and commitment and dedication. We took a class in ministerial school called self-regulation. And the whole class really was about controlling ourselves, controlling our monkey mind, controlling our negativity, choosing who to be, what to be, how to be. So not being so much reactive in life, but responsive in life. So this is a good reminder that we reap the benefits of our spiritual practice through discipline, doing our meditation, doing our gratitude service, doing our community service, our giving, our receiving, all of that. So I love that. The topic today, what you appreciate appreciates, and this is really, if you're in the real estate market, if you've ever bought and sold a house or anything else, you know that appreciation means something gains in value, depreciation means something loses value. So appreciation, thanksgiving, and gratitude cause those things in your life that you care about and that you're grateful for to appreciate, to grow in value. Now, this law of mind that we study and practice here, you know, the carrot seed, we plant a carrot seed and we get back a carrot. We plant an apple seed and we get back an apple. It's such a powerful yet simple principle that says what you are, the seeds you plant, how you be, results in being reflected back to you, the exact replicate of that. So the law doesn't care whether you're negative or positive. Negativity creates in exactly the same way that positivity creates. Ungratefulness creates in exactly the same way as gratitude. So the choice really lands on us, and part of it requires that you believe that this principle works, that it works all of the time, and it works for everybody, independent of religion, independent of gender, independent of anything. Gravity works for 100% of the people as a principle. The law of gratitude works 100%. The law of ingratitude works 100%. So, gratitude is not merely a reactionary emotion, it is a causative energy. I want you to believe this. And I want you to believe it, even if you don't believe it, I want you to believe it. I want you to kind of take my word for it for a minute until you prove to yourself that you're changing your approach to life, becoming more grateful, expressing that gratitude, fanning that gratitude, will in fact appreciate all of the things in your life that you care about. It is a causative energy. It causes things to happen. You know, Oprah Winfrey said, why should the universe give you more when you don't even appreciate what you have? She also said, Be thankful for what you have, you'll end up having more. And if you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. Now, you can see this. There are people who have very little resources, resource poor, whether that's, in our view, that would be money, material belongings, cash in the bank, who are incredibly grateful and incredibly happy, living good lives of community and love and friendship and sufficiency. There are also plenty of people who have more money than they could ever spend in a lifetime, who are miserable and sad and angry. So our happiness, our manifesting power, doesn't have anything to do with the amount in your checkbook or how many toys in your garage. It has to do with an inner state of being and living that is happy, that feels grateful for being alive, for the adventure of being alive. Another aspect of this philosophy we practice is that death isn't real. There is no death. I love Abraham Hicks won't even use the word death because it has so much baggage with it. They'll say something like, when you croak, right? Michael Beckwith would say, when you disappear, right? So he would say we have an appearance day and a disappearance day. And that looks like, a dash, a starting year and an ending year with a dash in between. So the disappearance doesn't mean you disappear. You as energy, you as unique and individualized expressions of the creative power that created and governs this universe cannot die any more than God can die. Now, we do obviously lay down these bodies, but we're talking about the quality of life between these two numbers and the dash, right? That are you happy? Are you free? Are you abundant? Do you have friends? Do people care about you? Do you care about them? Do you have what you need to live a good life? Do you have enough to share? Do people share with you? So, here we're not so much, we don't talk so much about God here because for me and for this philosophy, faith, and way of life, it's a given that we didn't make the universe, we don't govern the universe, we don't know why things work or how things work really. We bear witness to that which created everything. So, and the fundamental belief is that the outer God and the inner God are the same God. So we don't have to come here to get God. You've got God sitting on the toilet. You've got, I don't know why I say those things. Because I know all of you, it's like, okay, bad visual. But you understand my point. You have God anywhere. You have God when you're walking in the park. You have God when you're complaining about something. You have, you cannot separate yourself from that which created you. So we're really talking about a quality of life for ourselves, and we're also talking about a quality of life for others, because who we are, when you get underneath the barriers that we've built up to keep us separate from people, when you get underneath that, we're all connected, we're one, we are a family. So it doesn't really work to move through life alone and lonely. It works to move through life, expressing your gifts and talents and sharing yourself with other people. This lifetime is way more as an experience than anything else. It is an experience. So appreciation in advance brings everything you want to you. So you're sitting here, I'm sitting here, the quality of our lives as it is today is the sum total of what you have thought or believed or done for however old you are. So in my case, I'm 29 years old. And for 29 years, I've thought a certain way. I've acted in a certain way. And I have all kinds of reasons and justifications for thinking and acting those ways. Lots of evidence and stories. And unless you change the way you live and think and act, I promise you, your life will be exactly the same 29 years from now than it is today. So we have an opportunity to change the future by changing how we think, how we act, what we do. And that future, and listen, this is one of those minutes where you can't know this in advance. Something in you has to resonate with what I'm saying here so that you have the motivation and the commitment and the dedication you will need to change yourself, to think something new, to act in a different way. You know, we're here all the time, Reverend Shell, Reverend Malika, myself, the practitioners, all of us, our job here is to have our proverbial foot in your back always, to change, to take classes, to get on a service team, to come to events, to meet new people. Because unless you do all those things, here or somewhere else, life will pretty much stay the same. Are you hearing me? Yeah. So Plato said, now Plato lived a very, very, very long time ago. So this, I love these quotes from people who lived a very, 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 very long time ago, because even though science of mind and unity fall within an umbrella of theology called New Thought religions, there's nothing really very new about what we say or believe or think. And he said, a grateful mind is a great mind which eventually attracts to itself great things. Now, how do you change? Does anybody have that question? Okay, this is great. Now, how do I do it? Like, what do I do? What are the steps I can take? Do you have any hot tips, Reverend Denise? Right. You have to become keenly aware and commit yourself to noticing what you're noticing, to notice what you're thinking, to notice how you're responding. Now, Abraham Hicks would say this is pretty easy, because if you're unhappy or mad or jealous or angry, then you're going down the wrong road. You're on the wrong path. Because all of those emotions and reactions that we don't really like to live with for very long, and that doesn't say you're never going to get angry, but you don't want to be angry for 22 years. You want to be angry for 5 minutes, right? Or you don't want to be jealous for, you want the emotions to move through you, not move in. So what you do is, when you notice this, you take action on yourself, not on anybody else. If I get mad at Reverend Shell, I don't need Reverend Shell to do anything, right? She doesn't have to change. She doesn't have to know I'm upset. She doesn't have to grovel. She doesn't have to do anything. It's me who has to do something. And whether I do it with Reverend Shell is beside the point, but I have to do it within me to say, okay, so do you like how this feels, Reverend Denise? Oh, I don't call myself Reverend Denise. So, do you like how this feels, Denise? It'd be weird if I did, right? Hi, Mom, this is Reverend Denise. She's not living, but she would think that. She said, I could see you doing that. So, now, so the question is, in this book, Spiritual Economics by Eric Butterworth, he has this little section about God. And he says, now you know how people react if you are not grateful. And by the way, if there are any caretakers in the room, I'm going to reword this. If there are any codependent people in the room. I heard at least 10 people laugh. You know what that means, right? So meaning, There's a personality type called givers who sometimes give without receiving. So people who give without receiving get very frustrated, and they could get pretty upset when people aren't grateful for all the things that were given, right? So, but anyway, we all know what it feels like when people are not grateful, or we're not grateful. Like if you're not grateful to somebody who thinks you should be grateful, they get kind of annoyed or perturbed. But he says, you know how people will react if you are not grateful, but what about God? Will God be disturbed if you do not return thanks? Ooh, gold stars. Will God say of you, you are such an ingrate? The fact is, it doesn't make any difference to God whether you give thanks or not. But it makes a lot of difference to you. God is too universal to be dependent on our gratitude or thanksgiving. Now, we were taught to be grateful to God. We were. So this may sound funny or silly or simple, but it would be worthy to say, well, maybe that's true. Maybe God doesn't need our thanksgiving. Meister Eckhart, Christian mystic, said probably shocked his colleagues in medieval times when he said, I never give thanks to God for loving me because he can't help himself whether he would or would not. It's his nature to do so. So gratitude is not for God. Gratitude is for us, to make sure that we are in alignment with our highest and best self, that we are in alignment with the principle of multiplication, appreciation of growth. If the only prayer you ever said was thank you, that would be enough. So, as we move, now, it's one thing in this room, with a room full of people who are on really good behavior, who may be the nicest they are all week while here, but not so easy to do this practice really when you're out in the world, because people are cranky, people are judgmental, people are upset, people have belief systems. People think that you should believe what they believe. People think they know what you should do better than you know what you should do. So the practice of gratitude, thanksgiving, is a solitary practice between you and God. You and God are a majority. And so your task is not to get too connected to or involved with the world and try to fit in to its way of being. We are trying to change how the world bees. We are trying to solve the problems of separation and greed and envy. We're trying to solve the result of all of that so that we all can live fully, expressing our gifts and talents, because something inside of you is amazing. Some talent, some gift, some quality of being. You are amazing. Whether you think you are amazing or not is beside the point. You are amazing. And you're amazing not because your conditioned self or the ego says you are, but because God says you are. As a unique, individualized expression of this creative, loving, perfect energy, your only job description in life, whether you are a teacher or a nurse or a doctor or a minister or a housewife, whatever your job description is, your job description is to be grateful, loving, thankful, kind, considerate, generous. So, as we close this month, and we move into December, which is kind of a holy month. So December really will be about celebrating the light in you and in the world. And by the way, for those cranky people, or the angry people, or the unforgiving people, or the righteous people, self-righteous people, for the people who you, let's see. What we want to do is bring forth as much love, gratitude, and appreciation as we can for every single thing. Because it's a causative energy, meaning that you're loving someone who doesn't love themselves will cause them to love themselves a little bit more. No, you're being kind to somebody who doesn't know what kindness is, or who themselves is not kind, will begin to cause kindness to appreciate in them. And that may not be evidenced on minute one, but as a principle, what you appreciate appreciates. So if you have a person in your life that you're finding it hard to get along with, or that you're hard to spend time with, try finding something in them to appreciate and value. Something in them that you can appreciate when you begin to distance yourself. The 4 agreements: don't take anything personal. So that person, the unkind person, the ungrateful person, the mean person, the judgmental person, they're not doing it because of you. That's their way of thinking, being, and acting in life, and I promise you it's not working for them. So make life work for you by embracing the principles, bringing some self-control to what you say, what you think, and how you act, and just watch what happens to the people around you. Do it like an experiment, and I think you'll be really, really happy with what that means ultimately for you. So this is our affirmation for today. I'm going to read it, and then you're going to read it. So, I am grateful for my life. No. Sorry, my pause was too long. I'm going to read the whole thing. Then you're going to read the whole thing with enthusiasm. Sorry, that was and I appreciate your enthusiasm. So, I am grateful for my life. I appreciate my past. I am thankful for today and wildly appreciate my wonderful future. Thank you, sweet spirit. All is well. Your turn.
I am grateful for my life. I appreciate my past. I am thankful for today and wildly appreciate my wonderful future. Thank you, sweet spirit. All is well.
And so it is. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Let's take that into prayer. So concludes our lesson for today. All right, so taking a deep breath, let's take a moment and just get under the words, under the intellect, under the lesson, to this space and place within us that is so perfect, so unfettered by our past, that truly is whole, perfect, and complete in this moment. We are exactly as God made us: loving, kind, compassionate, generous, beautiful. And if that hasn't revealed itself yet in its fullness, we amplify that in the moment in this prayer by recognizing Spirit at the center of everything. Recognizing that we are one with Spirit. We cannot be separated. There's no God and. There's only God. Living itself, breathing itself, moving itself through and as our very life. As we live and move and have our very life through and as the very face of God. And so it is from that place that I speak a word for this community, this entire community, whether here or at home, simply recognizing and appreciating your humanity and your divinity. Appreciating the straight places and the crooked places. appreciating the effort and the commitment and the dedication to a world that works for everyone, appreciating our desire to live full, free, happy, contributory lives with our fellows. And so, in this moment, we repudiate any idea that living in this way, thinking in this way, and acting in this way is not possible for us. We repudiate any idea that anything from our past could prevent us from transforming ourselves today in this moment and moving out of this time and place different, more awake, more alive, more aware, paying attention to what we are paying attention to, so that we might bring forth on purpose in a controlled and dedicated way our best self ever. And we can appreciate ourselves for doing that, because it matters to the whole planet, perhaps to the entire cosmos. And so I just, with so much love and gratitude for our spiritual center, our spiritual quest, our spiritual connection, just release these words, knowing that the words are creative. They are the seeds being planted, and that should we water them with our consciousness, pay attention to them, pray over them, that they will grow into the fully manifested demonstration of the words. And so I know that we can leave this time expecting and accepting the manifestation of the new you. And so for this and more, we give thanks, we give gratitude, and we give appreciation, and we do this together by saying, and so it is, amen.